Welcome to CANESCAST.
Now Willis and Dean in the backfield. Fake to Dean. Out to Willis on the screen. Picks up about 5 yards before James Williams, the big free safety, knocks it.
Talking to coaches, he might move closer to the line of scrimmage at some points in this game.
He said he could make a lot of money. That's an excellent play. Step play made by Tyreek Stevens. Wilkie will throw. Chased out of the pocket.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to CANESCAST. I'm one half of the squad here, Phil Van Pelt.
What's up, everyone? I'm Garrett Halsey.
And we are excited to bring you our weekly iteration of CANESCAST, our recap of what's going on, what happened, and then obviously the preview of what to expect coming up in a big week, Texas A&M week. I think these guys potentially could have overlooked, just like we might have a little bit playing Southern Miss and starting slow till we have the wake-up call at halftime. We happened to wake up from ours and handled our business. They didn't. App State's no joke. But on that side of things, Southern Miss. So, Garrett, we're 2-0. I'm excited. We're on week 3, 2-0 in the season. It's a great way to start. Obviously, the cupcakes we talked about are no longer. What did you like about the Southern Miss game?
Yeah, I liked that Frank Gore didn't make me feel like he should have been on our team. You know, in years past, I feel like our cast off or a guy that should have been a Miami guy goes, never got an offer, goes to some other school and completely makes us look like fools. I love Frank Gore. To be honest with you, it was kind of hard watching the game and watching him getting dusted because you felt for him a little bit. I just love that we showed out. We looked like we belonged in the top 15. We looked like a good team. I'm excited. 2-0, baby.
I'm excited that we made the adjustments. We talked about in years past how, we watched that game together in years past. What might have happened? Do I think we still would have won? Absolutely. But I think being stuck in the mud like that in the first half, there was a wake-up call that we needed to see coming out of halftime, and adjustments were made. And that's the thing that excites me the most because, we've seen us not make those adjustments before. That was a big calling card. Something I hated about the previous regime under Diaz is it seemed like the same thing, different day. Every time. It was just adjustments weren't made, big time game scenarios. We did not rise to the occasion, and penalties consistently hurt us. And there's moments in this game that are teaching moments that I'm excited to see these guys grow from. And that adversity, it helps. It's nice when it happens in a game like this. You should win. That because it's you can take those lessons and apply them without the sting of a loss. And the sting of a loss in college football looms larger than any other sport because one loss and it's pretty much done. And a loss to Southern Miss, forget about it. I don't care if you run the rest of the schedule. It's irreversible. You can't come back from that. So they made the adjustments they needed to. Defensively, they were lights out. We gave up less points against Southern Miss, who is an uptick in talent than we did to Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman going against Southern Miss, 9 times out of 10, you got to say Southern Miss is going to win that game. And it's an uptick in talent. They better recruits. You talk about Frank Gore just on the surface, right there. Frank Gore. I mean, obviously the name alone should get you some offers. And with that 7 points, I'm pumped to see that happen. And I think that the offense being a little lethargic, it's a game that you can afford to do that in. And I'm glad that, those little bumps in the road, hopefully these things are smoothing out and we see a big performance against Texas A&M. So a lot on Tyler Van Dyke there. The biggest thing for me too is the commitment to the run game and how good the run games looked, because if that commitment stays there and we run the ball and we're able to move the ball like that and keep it grinding, keep their offense off the field, even though there's nothing to be that afraid of as it stands right now. I'm excited because that's how you control games. And then you have the guy, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, of Van Dyke. He's throwing darts. Just get open, and we'll be fine in that. But yeah, there's a lot of things to like, and I'm actually happy to see a little adversity because I do believe that this regime will put that to the test and grow from that. So
start looking at the game again. We didn't get a kick return. Keyshawn Smith didn't have a kick return, but he did have a touchdown now. Mm-hmm. So he looked great on that catch. That was a wonderful catch. But I did think we struggled a little bit on the line as far as pass protection is concerned. Tyler Van Dyke didn't have a great passing statistics game. We'll say good, solid game, but I think there was times where it concerned me, especially in this first half, that we were not protecting. So I think that's going to be something that will come, here a little later, because we'll talk about that going into this weekend. So I did see a few things that we had certainly to practice. And, again, the O-line has been our Achilles heel somewhat. We've had talented running backs, quarterback, receivers, but getting those, big time games, getting protection in those games has been where we've come undone. Stephen Morris, you can't, can throw for 600 yards in a game, but he can't pass protect against Duke, and we lose games, So we got to get that sealed up. Offensive line play is important. If we're going to have a quarterback that needs to spread the ball around, we want to spread the ball downfield. You don't just want to deke and dunk forever. You want to be able to push the ball downfield. Offensive line, you got to protect. So that's our biggest thing going into next week. Mario Cristobal has got to be ready on the offensive line. But that was one thing that stood out in the game that we just watched.
Yeah, and again, I agree that the sacks, they were unexpected, and that's something that, again, needs to clean up. But that's something that I'm excited for, like I mentioned, because you can clean that up. You can learn from those. You can have very teachable moments and go after these guys and say, hey, I know we won, but I think it's easier to get that point across coming off a win. This is what you need to do better. Yep. But again, I sent you that tweet from earlier that was talking about how I didn't believe that we were showing all that much in these first two games. And right there, proof in the pudding, there's a lot of stuff we've held back from Van Dyke, right? I mean, those are his words on that caption. It was, Instagram or whatever. But again, as far as them holding back, and this is something, whether or not people want to believe it or not, I do believe that when you're playing lower squads like this, you're always going to hold something back. You're going to keep something in the chamber because you're about to go play at a big ranked game. A&M is still ranked. It's a ranked game and a primetime game. The crowd's going to be rowdy. They're going to want to bounce back. We understand all that. They had a bad loss. Losing to us wouldn't be a bad loss. Us losing to them on the surface after last week shouldn't have been a bad loss, but now it might be viewed as such. But they're playing to keep themselves ranked and get themselves back, back on track, even though effectively their season is probably over at this point because that App State thing, although App State is competitive, it's hard to say that they'll be forgiven for that loss in the climate of college football that is today. But I think we're holding some stuff back. We're going to see more, a few wrinkles, different formations. I think Jalen Knighton's going to get more play. I think you could throw him out in the slot and let him make plays in the pass game like that pretty consistently when you have a two-headed monster that we seem to have so far with Franklin and Parrish. So I'm excited to get these guys some play. But again, it all comes down to this. I know we keep, rehashing, going over the same stuff, and it's kind of hard to break too many things down with these games because the focus was on now it's A&M. And then we got another little break with Middle Tennessee, but then we go full into ACC schedule. But this is, on the surface, the best defense, regardless of their letdown, that we'll see probably all season. Talent-wise, athletic-wise, this is the best defense that we should see outside of potentially Clemson, right? That we'll see all year. So there's a lot to look forward to. I'm just hoping our guys rise to the occasion. We know we can do it. I mean, to put together primetime games like we did against Virginia Tech and Notre Dame in 2017 with a squad, that's a lot less talented than what we have now. I would say receivers arguable. We know how good Richards was and obviously Jeff Thomas and these guys and what happened with their careers. A tragedy on one and the other side was just really a letdown. But
right. Chris Herndon was a good player yep.
And so we had talent, absolutely. But I think that we have just a few more pieces around, the running game, I think as a whole is better. I think the offensive line is the thing. The offensive line's better. The bottom line is we were able to show up motivated and win. Now we're on the road. We're not at home. I understand that. But when we play up to the potential, the talent that's on the squad, we can go win. And I think right now, Texas A&M also has a quarterback situation that's not exactly a good one, and I think that can play into our hand pretty significantly.
Looking back at the Southern Miss game, having two tune-ups to go into this big game was a great schedule setup, right? Going into this year, this is what we need: a talented team, a good schedule setup, and now we have a team that's facing adversity on the other end. It's not us. I like that we're still. It seemed like you said that we were we were dogs in the game, right?
We're 5.5 point dogs.
they were still favored to win. So I like that we're still ranked ahead of them, but yeah, we're still, in theory, chosen to lose because we play better that way. Coming up in the last, the record in the last few years has shown that we are better at playing from behind, and when we're told that we're no good, and that to me plays into our hands. So I'm glad that whoever sets those things up, thank you for doing us a favor in that case, because
except for Manny, bro, we
I
didn't win
wouldn't have
anything.
loved it. True, but I wouldn't have loved being favored in this game going into it. Having all the momentum is good, but I think the pressure's on them, right? To lose 2 in a row at this point in their season, they absolutely never expected. So let's bury Texas A&M. Let's not give them a chance to resurrect their season. Now, Mario Cristobal, is he got to get the whole offensive line ready to play this big-time game? You're going to be calling signals. It's going to be hard to hear. 12th man is going to show up. They all showed up last weekend to the game, and that what they watched was not expected. So they're going to be coming back at full force, absolutely insanely venomous, right? So we got to be ready. To think that we're just going to go in there and hand Texas A&M a bludgeon, I think is a little would be naive. So
no, can we?
It's great to go. I'm ready to see what we're capable of.
Yeah, can we go in there and beat the hell out of them? Yeah, we can. Will we? I don't know. For me, it's hard. We've been on that. I'm not going to jump down this path of conspiracies and things like that. We've seen our team, just like every team has seen us, be screwed. We have our moments that, Canes fans will forever hate Ohio State for that reason. But A&M, it's, I don't know about bias, whatever. I think that things are going to always be pointing against us. I always feel like it's Miami against the world, Miami versus everybody. I think that all Miami fans feel that on some level. But it's kind of a lose-lose for me. I'm upset that A&M lost that game. And I'm upset A&M lost that game for the reason we talked about, because if A&M's still 6 and we go in and win, which I think we could do regardless, it's cool. Miami pulled a big upset, right? But when A&M, or not a big upset, they're going to say a big upset. Oh, it's a big win. But now when A&M dropped this game, if we go in there and win, it was, well, you should have. You're the higher ranked team. You should have won in there and won. They just dropped to App State. Are you kidding me? Because for some reason, people still can't acknowledge that App State is actually a squad. They're a decent school. I think 9 times out of 10 against any school, they're going to give them a run for their money, minus games where they just don't show up. I think playing their best game, they might put a scare. They're not going to beat Georgia. They're not going to beat Alabama. They're not going to beat those schools. But could they hang with them for a quarter or so and make you go, wow, okay. Maybe even till half the game is a little closer. I'd venture to say, yeah, no one thought Texas would hang at all with Alabama, and they almost pulled the upset. And I think if you polled a bunch of people, there's enough people that would think Texas could get beat by App State. So when you play that game, I think App State can hang with people better than most think, or most are willing to acknowledge. I should say it like that. But now that A&M's dropped, if we lose, then it looks worse. It's frustrating to me, because how much does this help us? If we beat A&M, or hopefully when we beat A&M, will we shoot up? Yeah, we'll probably go into the top 8. But had we beat A&M and they were still number 6, now they probably would have dropped, even if they figured out that game against App State, because they would have played them closer than people wanted, right? Yeah. They would have dropped a little. But we could have ballooned up into the top 6 and really continued to pad that out for the rest of the season. This hurts us a little bit. And if and when we beat them, they're going to fall out of the rankings completely, right? So it was a lose-lose. Obviously, I wanted to see them show some weakness coming into our game, to see, it kind of makes you go, okay, yeah, if App State can do this, yeah, because 9 times out of 10, we should beat them. Just like I'm saying, all these schools should, but App State's good enough to pull these upsets. They're not a small little FCS school anymore. They're playing with the big boys and they're doing it well. We saw them when they go beat Michigan, right? So this has been something kind of in the making.
They damn near beat us last year. They said it in the telecast of the game. If you watch it, they had us on the ropes. They should have beat us last year. We could have.
I should have. A lot of that's Diaz stuff too that I don't. I'm not. That's a whole nother video as far as
they gave us scared. Let's just say we got out of that one without a bloody eye or a bloody nose. No way, man. We took a shot.
We did.
They played us tough. Took a shot.
Absolutely, they did, and that's exactly the reason why I'm talking about now. Better coaching staff and everything else helps that this year. I think the best thing that we have going for us is our again, it's the new regime, it's the commitment to the run game, and it's the knowledge that A&M is vulnerable. I think you
They're
talk
vulnerable.
about they're on the ropes. They're on the ropes
They're on
right
the ropes.
now.
And this will be a great game to tell. Are we ready for a good season? Are we ready for a good, tough ACC schedule? No matter what the teams have been doing, they will always be tough by the time we get to them every year. So they're ready. Mario Cristobal, are you going to put your foot on the throat of Jimbo Fisher, and are you going to stomp him out? Right? That's what I want to see.
Hope so.
I liked, again, we played a good game. 30-7 is an acceptable score from a team that I was not totally 100% confident. I was 80% confident. Anything can happen in college football. So we made adjustments, like you said earlier. Mario Cristobal showed us some good metal, right? Got things addressed, turned the defense 100% around. I mean, the defense maybe gave up a pass or two in the second half, but they shut down Southern Miss. That was lovely.
We left points on the field. We left points on the field.
We'll say definitely, but I would say that was some of the Miami. We won't say the Miami lift. We'll say the Miami squash. You're right. We played a little against those Zebras. It felt like so. I like that we made adjustments enough that the game didn't matter. Were we going to have the referees matter and keep us from a squeaker, or we put it on them, we put them away? That was good to see, right? I like that going into this week. We showed what we're ready. I think taking steps towards being a good squad, and that's positive.
Well, that blocking out of bounds, there's a touchdown that came off the board. We had a couple of touchdowns that we should have hung on the board, and we didn't. And that's something, though, again, you can afford to get away with that. I don't know that you can afford to lose that many opportunities against Texas A&M, just because when they play to their talent level, they obviously have talent, and they were only able to score 14. So defensively, that's where you like to see the stuff, because you're saying, okay, A&M does have a good defense. Our offense can be tested. But 10 times out of 10 and 100 out of 100, whatever they're going to trot out onto the field at quarterback with their scenario right now is nowhere close to Van Dyke. And I'd venture to say I'm more confident. If Garcia's got to come out, I'm confident in that situation too. I'm confident in our offense to score enough points. And if our defense can play Miami defense and get motivated and stay disciplined, I think there's no reason why we can't just absolutely stymie, just crush that offense down. Because, I mean, when you look at that and say North Carolina put 63 points up on App State, crazy game. Neither team should have a great defense based on that. A&M does. They only gave up 17, but they could only score 14 on an App State defense that gave up 63 to a North Carolina squad that's replacing a lot of talent. That's pretty crazy.
So if you go watch the game, I gotta put it. Appalachian State played an amazing game. They controlled the ball 40 minutes probably. They had
Mountaineers held the ball for 41 and a half minutes, 41-29 of the game, owned the time of possession mark, 10:38 in the fourth quarter. So the fourth quarter, they had the ball almost the entire time.
They had two drives that lasted literally almost entire quarters. So what they did is they came into the house and played a perfect game, had a great game plan. That's good coaching.
Yep.
That's what I want to see. I want to see us follow up with Mario Cristobal having a great coaching performance. I think we've got all the players ready to do all the things that are necessary to win the game. Like you said, we could put up 60 on this team. I'm not afraid of that.
I don't know. I'm not saying we can put up 60. I'm saying
but I want
we
to
can
see
score enough.
Is Mario Cristobal ready for the big time stage? That he's been brought in here for this kind of game. He's been, I believe, brought through the right ranks. I think he's played. He's gone through the right situations to get to this level, to prepare for this the right way.
Dude, he's ready. He's ready.
He should be ready. He should be ready.
No, he's ready. Yeah, that to me is not a question. Is the team? Will he get the team? We've seen him go win a Rose Bowl. We've seen him win Pac-12 championships. He's done it as a player, win championships. He's done it with this program. He knows what it takes and what it is. Does he get the team in this moment? And this isn't an ACC championship game against Clemson, so it's not as big a stakes, but it's a huge moment against an SEC team that we should beat. That's the thing is we can score enough. Like you're saying, we can score enough. Our offense is good enough to score 21, more than that, obviously 30 points. Are we going to do that against them? I don't know that we're going to do that against them. If we go out and throw what we did, remember that against the Gators? Diaz, opening week 0 against the Gators. We had 10 plus penalties, gave up 10 plus sacks, and still only lost because we didn't have a kicker. And Jeff Thomas fumbled that ball. There's, that, but this isn't that. We need to find a way to play disciplined football. That's the biggest thing. And I think with this regime, we will. So I didn't mean to go off on that tangent. Cristobal will be ready. Will he get the team? That's the next question.
I've seen enough in the first 2 games. The running game looks solid. Henry Parrish is an amazing addition to this team. I didn't realize we got him for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. If he wants to go in the league, of course. But man, the kid gets north and south. He's tough. And then again, you got Thad Franklin coming behind, and he's gonna be a huge part of this Texas A&M game. If you want to go back and compare and say, let's repeat a loss and let's do it. Thad Franklin's huge for this game. This offensive line needs to show up for this game. We need to rely on them heavily. We need to lean on Texas A&M's got a little bit of a vulnerability, I think, on the defensive front. I think they've got a ton of talent, skill across the board, but let's lean on. And if Appalachian State can recruit guys that are 320 across average for 5 spots, we should be able to lean on these guys. Let's get a little Thad Franklin to bludgeon them down. And now we've got the rooster. Let's go. Full speed, buddy. Let's get in there and mix it up. We got 3 really good running backs. I feel great about our running game. Now, again, so if we get into our passes, are we going to be able to protect and hold our pass rush off? I think so, right? I would like to see if we've been holding back. We've got some great, some nuances, some wrinkles. I like all of I think we've shown across the board in all these games, we got athletes. Mm-hmm. If you're not scared of Keyshawn Smith, boy, I don't know what your games you're watching, because that kid is dynamic. He's fast. He's a little taller. I think he's a little lankier. 6'1", 6 foot, something like that. But man, when that kid's going full speed, I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to keep up with him. You got Brashad Smith, had a great game this last game. He was kind of the go-to guy. Got those big yards and came that huge come down with that catch on that offsides right at the beginning of the game. Mm-hmm. Great play. Go up and make that play, kid. I love that. We haven't seen Ladson show up in these first 2 games. I'm kind of surprised by that. I really felt like he was going to be somebody we would have seen. This guy's athleticism is why he's here. So maybe he's what they're holding back. Let's put him out there. I like, again, everything excites me. I think the tight end position's been I want to say Arroyo has been lights out. I love they're moving the kid around. He's played amazing football. He hasn't gotten a lot of catches, and I think hopefully they'll reward him, because I'll tell you, that kid is blocking his tail off, and he's everywhere. I love that kid's playing. I like Mammarelli. You've seen him on the field in these first 2 games, getting a lot of blocking, getting a lot of blocking in at the end of the line of scrimmage. I love that. I think the person I want, Will Mallory's got to step up in this game, because they're going to him. He's our athletic dynamo.
He was a part of that big class with Brevin Jordan. He's a great tight end. He
should be able to show up in this game and make these plays. We can't have this kid leaving plays on the field in this game. So look. I mean, there's just a slew of guys. I'm excited on this
what's
team.
Cool?
To be honest with you.
Really cool. In this game too. Well, let's just backtrack for a minute. Zion Nelson, who we've been waiting on, coming back on the offensive line, which provides more depth, and obviously upside is crazy. So I think that our offensive line can take that next step. He got some reps in as a backup last week. We'll see him kind of coming back. Jalen Knighton is one of those guys for me who we did see. You're talking about, I think we're going to see some design plays that are more like home run hitters, as far as to potentially get the ball in Knighton's hand and let him go, because there's still some rust he's knocking off from what I see, talking about how Gaddis was talking about, Josh Gaddis, our offensive coordinator, talking about the game. I think we'll see some potentially home run hits there. Brashard Smith, you touched on that. 4 passes, 53 yards last week. Ran the ball once for 7 yards. He's really come on big. And here's something no one's talking about. 2 game suspension. Jacoby George, he's coming back. Return game, everything. That's another weapon that you have in the arsenal there, who these guys they're big on. You need to earn those reps. You get them. These guys have worked their way in and they've earned what they have. Where you're talking about Restrepo's got his spot, Rashard Smith, talking about Keyshawn, you're talking about all these different guys who Michael Redding has made a couple plays. So you're looking at guys who we're finally kind of seeing this grow, but you're right. You're absolutely right. For me, I think there's home run threats everywhere on our offense.
Real
It's
quickly,
Will Mallory though, bro.
Xavier Restrepo has been blocking lights out. That kid has absolutely been making huge plays for other players on this team in the first 2 games. Blocking, just knocking guys in the next week. And not a big guy as far as he's not tall.
He's strong.
He's nice and stout. But man, that kid has showed up. I got to be honest with you. Xavier Restrepo has been the MVP for me on the offense. And it's not because he had the good game, his receiving, but
Against
the game
Bethune.
he was just knocking fools out this last game. And in the kick return game, the first game, he was knocking fools out to get Keyshawn Smith sprung. So Xavier Restrepo has been an amazing player in the first 2 games. I want to see this kid go into Texas A&M and show out. Put it on.
This is a Braxton Berrios type, big
100%.
catches against Notre Dame. This is one of those things where he can go out, make some plays, and make stuff happen. And like you said, it's been building. And he's one of those guys that, like, no matter where you could put him on any squad, he'd be successful. So I really think that it's X factors. It comes down to a couple different guys. For me, it's Will Mallory's got to show up. Obviously, Van Dyke's got to have a good game. I want to see the sighting from Mallory, spread the ball out to different guys, and have a dominant run game. I think that Van Dyke can easily go for 300-400 yards and throw that right. Everything we haven't been paying attention to him, one of the best quarterbacks in football in the country. He'll throw it right back onto the tracks here. Huge game against A&M. We know what he did last year as a freshman. This guy can go out and sling the ball all over the field. So I'm excited to see him step up. And then if our defense does the job that we know that it's capable of, we'll walk away with a W. We just will. We'll get this win in A&M. And I think I saw on CBS, Brady Quinn picked us outright. Forget the 5.5. And Danny Cannell, our favorite Florida State guy, he went ahead and was like, he was big on us, but he still rolled with A&M. Well, I wonder why. But hey, he's a we got a lot of words for those guys, but we'll just call them what they actually are, Seminoles.
It's better for me that, again, we've go into this game with people doubting us. As far as the experts, the point spread, I like going into this game with them favored. We play better this way. Mario Cristobal, are you ready for the big time stage? Are we going to go out there and show that we're a good football team? Let's get 3-0. This team is down. You can't let them up off the mat. Don't let them come and resurrect their season on your watch. This is a game where you got to go show that you are a good coach. You've earned this position, and now you're going to earn your paycheck. Mm-hmm. This is the game to show it, bro. Like, go show against Jimbo Fisher. I love when Jimbo Fisher's losing his mind on the sideline. He acts so cool and calm with his southern twang in front of the cameras, but watch that guy on the sidelines when his team's losing, and that guy is a miserable mess. I want Mario Cristobal to show the world that Jimbo Fisher is a loser. I really want him to look like a disaster on the sidelines. That's what we got to watch.
We can do it. Yeah, I can't wait for this game against Texas A&M. And just like you, I am excited at the possibility of potentially, embarrassing Jimbo Fisher or leaving him with a sour taste in his mouth. I know what you mean. We've seen it. We saw it for years with FSU. Everything's great until it's not. When things aren't going his way, he tends to pout, gets irritated, gets after it. We've seen it. We know what it is. And A&M is a school with obviously a lot of recruiting momentum right now. They can switch things if they have a bad season, if it falls on its face here. But we know the goal is to get them to be something. A&M is a big school in the SEC that is always competitive, but has never really won anything. So we know what Jimbo's trying to get, what he's trying to get to. Obviously, the goal is a national championship. The SEC is tough. I don't know if he's going to do it there. He may end up bouncing, going somewhere else eventually if things start falling apart at A&M, and I would love to be a part of that, just like you're talking about. If we can help shoot that in that direction where where Jimbo falls apart at the seams. I love seeing that. So do you. I know that's a little petty, but come on. FSU rivalry, we never forget. We gotta root against that guy when we can.
It'll never die, bro. Our first time we ever hung out, bro, that guy gutted us. So I hope
It was a game we should have won, but you're right.
I hope that guy has a miserable loss.
Yes, exactly. And I'm all there for it too. Like I said before, our defense needs to it's penalties for me, and it's the defense. Can the defense step up and show that those undisciplined plays were really a product of, hey, we're overlooking these guys a little bit. We don't really need to. Oh, wait, they scored. Like, okay, you can do that. You can get away with it because we're going to win those games. Can you tighten those things up? Can you play disciplined football? Can you get to the quarterback? That's the thing. Can we provide pressure? Can we get to the quarterback? And can we protect Van Dyke? It's won and lost in the trenches. Their defense is legit. We know their defense will come to play. Their offense, it has to get to a point where defense can only do so much for so long. We've seen it ourselves when we had Feely's kid punting the ball, and every punt, that opening year against LSU, I thankfully was at the Florida State game that year. You were at that LSU game, not so good. We know what bad special teams and an anemic offense can bring. A great defense can only hold on for so long. Losing Trajan Bandy in that game obviously hurt, but we're going back to the LSU game. But there's only so long a defense can hold strong with having to start at the 50-yard line. So if we can put them in a position like that, if we have to punt the ball, we know we have the best punter in the nation with Headley. Let's put them down there. Let's not put a bunch of big-time kicks in that environment on Borregales. But if this game has to come down to a kick, I don't know. Big-time moment, it's tough in college. It's really a crapshoot. If it's a close kick, I like our odds a little better. But hell, Borregales lost us the game against Virginia last year by us settling for a kick, and he missed a 33-yarder. We've seen that too much lately. He's got the talent to hit the kick. I don't want to see this come down to a kick. I want to see us have a 10-point lead with a couple minutes left, have control of the game, or more. Obviously, I'd like to see us have a 30-point lead. But it's won and lost in the trenches. Keep the penalties low and show that we can get after the quarterback on defense. And I think our offense can score enough with whatever they manufacture to keep pace regardless of how good their defense is on paper. I'm excited. I want to see a big game from Van Dyke. I think we will. Offensive output is huge. Control the game on the ground. I know it's all stereotypes. It's all just common sense in football, but it's stuff that we get away from. It works for a reason. And most importantly, don't beat yourself and don't leave the game in the ref's hands. Those are my two big things. Go find a way to win this game, Miami. If we do, there's not a game on the table outside of Clemson that we really shouldn't win. And you rode that train. You said undefeated from the start. And if that happens with the recruiting class we have coming in, are we ever going to lose another game again? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got a long ways to go.
Mistakes happen. Take A&M first, baby.
Take care of them. As always, guys, it's all about the U. You know that. It's always all about the
U, baby.
Go Canes.
See you next week.
With the CANESCAST, I'm Phil Van Pelt.
I'm Garrett Halls, everyone. See you later.
Go Canes.
Go Canes.
It's important that they move the ball down the field and get on the board.
That's not going to help. Radford Jr. was dropped by Leonard Taylor.
This guy, 56. Really good job of getting off the ball.
Awesome 3 on the play. 2nd and 13. Wilkie to throw. Miami brings us forward. They get pressure on him. And Taylor again.
But really good outside rush. You see on the left-hand side, force the quarterback to get up